In 2007, the organizers of the Sun City 400 won the ABSA Off-Road Award for the best event of the year. This time round, it will be even better because it's coming to crunch time in the 08 season. The production car and the special vehicle title chase is at fever pitch, and the fifth event of the year is bound to be a watershed time for the teams, their drivers and their navigators. For the men in the various cockpits of the more than 70 entries that are expected to line up for the event to be held at the end of July, it will be one tough ask. The Sun City 400 has, rightly so over the years, earned a reputation as a physically demanding and mechanically testing event. The organizers, ably led by Chief R.D. Roots, focus on variety on the race route. Add in the inevitable dust in the Pilanesberg due to the lack of rain at this time of the year, throw in some midday heat, hot competition, some very inhospitable terrain and some mountains, and you get to understand the whole scenario. What's more is that this race is known to be a truly spectator-friendly one and allows off-road enthusiasts and aficionados to see their favorite zoom by several times within comfortable driving range around the route. And for hospitality, you have to go a long way to beat what Sun City always offers during one of the established events on the calendar. Add to that the fact that the championship races in virtually all the classes is split by just a few points, almost throughout all 7 categories, and that no one has taken a clear hold of the points battle for any of the national crowns on offer yet, and you can understand why the Sun City 400 is going to be yet another humdinger of an event. Throw in the fact that there are 1 or 2 favorites and then a dozen or so men who want to unseat them from their posts in the Sun City 400 in 2008. Coupled with that, the big production title battle between Nissan, Toyota and Ford is still raging on. One did not finish next to a team name can mean the end of any championship hopes here. Ford and Toyota will again have Nissan in their sights in the production vehicle category at the Sun City 400 round 5 of the ABSA Off-Road Championship, and the gloves will be off this time. Nissan, the reigning champions, currently have 3 wins, all going to reigning drivers champ Duncan Foss in one of 3 factory Sasol Nissan Navaras, while Toyota have a lone victory via Mark Cronier and Chris Birkin in one of the 2 factory Castrol Toyota Hilux entries. Ford have yet to win this season, but former champions Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schalthammer have had 4 podium finishes in a row in the factory Ford Racing Ranger, and Sun City could provide their breakthrough. Schalthammer Ford combination on an event that is traditionally tough on man and machine could be a winning one overall, and in the Premier Super Production class, that would be a big breakthrough for them. The crew is experienced and have a liking for the more technical routes. The vehicle is strong and reliable, and the ingredients could all gel and provide Ford with a very overdue victory. The fact that Schalthammer leads the Co-Drivers' Championship with Ralph Pitchford missing events via overseas commitments is an additional incentive for the team. Woolridge is second in the Drivers' Championship, and with backup from Mark Ferguson and Craig West in another factory entry and the reliable Kobus van Tonda and Rian Gropa in their Unifreight Ford Ranger, the Ford Challenge is a very powerful one indeed. With that, there is a certain determination in the Ford camp that there hasn't been for a while, and they will be serious competitors at Sun City. The championship is given a further boost by Alfie Cox and Hini Terstege in the Motorrad SP. The pair have had a patchy season so far, but are far too capable and experienced to be left out of the equation in any way, shape or form. After all, Cox has won more than 20 national championships. This is another one he wants desperately. Nissan, of course, also have a powerful hand. Foss is rejoined by Pitchford and veteran Hannes Grobler and Jean Moore, and then Norwegian Ivar Tollefsen and Britain Quinn Evans, who give Glenn Hall's team 3 possible winners. Young Weichelt, who stood in for Pitchford in the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 desert race, did a fine job, but Foss has an affinity with Pitchford that makes the combination hard to beat. Grobler and Moore have not enjoyed the best of luck recently. But Foss respects the Cronier-Birkin combination in the Toyota greatly.
They're unbelievably competitive. You know, you saw yesterday Mark going from 21st place on starting in the grid. He got into the lead, so the car can't be bad if you do that. And they really are a strong team, and so is Neil. So it's really it's a great fight between the three manufacturers, and it's great fun being part of it.
You're defending at Sun City in the lead by 16 points, but the competition will have to chase.
No, they have. I won there last year, and I really enjoy the Sun City race, and our car's very good there, so we're going to be strong there, I think, provided that we don't do anything too silly.
Nissan have dominated the production vehicle championship in recent seasons and will probably go to Sun City as the favourites. There are signs, however, which certainly give Toyota and Forward Cruise a glimmer of hope. The experienced Anthony Taylor, who's linked up with veteran Robin Houghton in the factory Castrol Toyota team, appears to have added an element of stability to the squad. Grenier and Birkin are perhaps the quickest crew in the championship, but having both works entries in the points in 2 successive races have been a great boost for the entire Castrol Toyota squad. After a fine finish in Botswana over 1,000 Ks, Anthony, years and years of racing on circuits throughout South Africa, now all of a sudden out in the wild bush where surprises lurk around every second corner and rock. How have you come to terms with that?
Yeah, you know, I think having driven off-roads now and that, I think it might just make my senses a bit sharper coming back to the circuit racing, because you know, you have to react and respond so much quicker in off-road because of all the lurkers that are waiting in the grass, the trees that come up on you. You really have to be sharp all the time, and you know, the driving technique in off-road is almost sort of 8/10 rather than 10/10. When you get close to a guy, or you can start smelling the dust, that's when you start pushing the 10/10, which is nice from the circuit point of view, because you know how to keep it precise, yet also keep the pressure on. So yes, it does help you, but also at the same time there are 1 or 2 instances where you can get caught out, which certainly did help me today. But you know, generally speaking, I was sort of riding 8/10 most of the time, just to conserve the car and get it back home.
There will be solid backup from Chris Visser and Japie Badenhorst in their Castrol Toyota Hilux, as well as Hechu and Jaap de Bruin in the Microl Excel Toyota Hilux, who are deceptively quick. George and Sharon Parkhuizen in the Rurikon Toyota Hilux, as well as Jaco Swanepoel and Keith Solomon in the IDM Cement Toyota Hilux appear to have found their feet in the SP class and have come up with some very encouraging results lately. Mike Thompson and Brian Haviland in the new double-cab Feltex Imperial Toyota Hilux made an impressive start to the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 desert race.
You know, being a new car, you're always going to have teething problems, you know, until you've got the car nicely settled. We managed to do 300 kilometers of testing prior to the event, but obviously it wasn't sufficiently or rough enough. The event was really, really rough, specifically the time trial, and obviously that was a good test for the car.
Mike, in the new car, what are the differences for you after stepping up to the special production car class? And intrinsically, what are the differences?
The vehicle's the SP vehicle, a lot faster than before, a lot of concentration required, personal fitness. It's going to take a little while for us to get used to it with the teething problems that we had in this event. We'll get the car right and we'll be back up on track.
And why Toyota?
Toyota offered a lot of support. And, you know, it's a big team, there's a lot of camaraderie, there are a lot of people racing Toyotas, and that's why we chose to go with it.
Sun City is a tough event. Do you have good memories from the Pilanesberg and surrounds?
I actually like the Sun City event. Our best finish ever was at Sun City. It's nice terrain to race in. It's rough, but not as rough as the desert, and we're looking forward to it.
Nissan crews currently lead the way in Class D with Kutsia Labuschagne and Johan Gerber in their trustworthy Raceonics Nissan hardbody. They lead brothers Henry and Maurice Matten in a similar vehicle in Rhobi colours. Both crews have won this season and a good contest could develop, but the Botswana desert took its toll.
You've got to rebuild this thing a little bit first, take all the scratches out from the thorn bushes, and then, yeah, much of the same, I think. Try and get a few more points in the bag. we've got a championship we're trying to get. So somehow, if we get that right, I'll be a happy camper.
The Zermatten's biggest challenge will probably come from the steady Chris de Plooy and Henk van Vieren in the RFS Toyota Hilux, who've done very well this season. Cliff Weichelt and Jimmy Koch in the N1 4x4 Toyota Hilux D4x4. And throw in Ramon Besaidnout and Stefan Locke in their Toyota Hilux, last year's top rookies, who have been disappointing and will be looking for a return to form. Toyota crew Yanni Visser and Joks Leroux and their very trustworthy team Barbaspan Toyota Hilux have taken firm control of Class E. Penalties that dropped Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro from first to third in class on the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race did nothing to further their cause in the Ford Racing Ranger, but they'll be there or thereabouts. The KwaZulu-Natal crew will be keen to make amends, and another interesting clash is on the cards. Newcomer Dewald van Breda, the Potch Plastics Toyota Hilux, has done well with 3 different co-drivers in 4 events. And Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts in the Baden Tyre Services Nissan Hardbody will be looking to turn around what has so far been a rather disappointing season in 2008. Dion Venter and Ian Palmer in the 4x4 Mega World Toyota Hilux will also be looking for a good result, as will rookies Dan Swanepoel and James Moss in the IDM Cement Toyota Hilux. With Toyota currently leading Nissan by a slender 12 points in the prestigious SA Manufacturers Championship, the Sun City event is important to both manufacturers. Ford are a further 34 points in arrears, and the battles in the Pilansberg, with the Sun City 400 voted the best event last year, will be both interesting and extremely significant. Voss's third win of the year, though, on the recent Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race saw him open up a comfortable 16-point lead over former champion Neil Woolridge from the Factory Ford Racing stable in the overall point standings. The Botswana win was also Voss's second successive triumph in the Desert Marathon and Nissan's 7th win in a row. But while he sits atop the driver's standings, his partner Ralph Pitchford is third in the co-driver stakes. Pitchford missed the Botswana outing because of an overseas commitment, and for the second time this season, Louis Weichelt sat alongside Voss. Woolridge's partner Kenny Scholthammer leads the co-drivers championship ahead of Chris Birkin and Pitchford, who has shared in 2 of Voss's wins this season. Castrol Toyota factory driver Marc Grenier, who is third in the drivers championship, and Birkin finished second to Voss and Weichelt on the desert race. Castrol Toyota Hilux pair Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst failed to finish the desert race, but they are always dangerous, very quick, and when they can get the car reliable, they will be there or thereabouts. Fourth in the driver and co-driver stakes are Hannes Grobler and Johan Moore, teamed in a second Sasol Nissan Navara. The 3-time champion is always dangerous, expecting to be even more so at Sun City. On their heels are Kobus van Tonda and Rian Kopa in the Unifreight Ford Ranger, who, like Voss and the Woolridge-Scholthammer combination, have a 100% finish record this season. Due to anomalies in points allocations in overall and class finishes, there are slight changes in the SP class positions. Moore is third amongst the co-drivers ahead of Pitchford, while van Tonda and Kopa move ahead of Visser and Badenhorst. A good battle is developing in Class D, where Kutsiela Beskaghni and Johan Gerber in their Raconics Nissan Hardbody have an 8-point lead over the Zermatten brothers Henry and Maurice in the Ryobi Nissan Hardbody. The Zermattens won in Botswana for the 2nd year in a row, but have the consistent Chris de Plooy Jr. and Henk van Vieren breathing down their necks. Just a single point separates the experienced Zermattens and the youthful de Plooy van Vieren combination in their RFS Toyota Hilux. Young de Plooy co-driver for his father Chris Sr. last year, but this season he's switched roles. No doubt it suited him right down to the ground. A third win of the season on the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race has given Yanni Visser and Yorks Leroux in the Team Barberspon Toyota Hilux a clear lead in Class E. They lead Peckham and Santoro, who were hit with a 25-minute penalty for various infractions in Botswana. The points log makes interesting reading. Remember that a win is worth 25 points, and Foss leads with a slender 16-point margin. Woolridge and Cronje will want to put the Nissan man under pressure from the get-go. The top 20 is rounded out like this, and the Class D battle is going to be a thriller. Ditto for Class E with Peckham and Santoro doing the chasing. We're back after this.
Vehicle and asset finance from